I mean, I'm gonna be in the ring different. Like I say to him in Spanish, he needs 20 like him to give me a little problems.
Excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch.
Premise. Canelo Alvarez means to the Mexican fans what Floyd Money Mayweather meant for black people.
Canelo Alvarez issued a clear warning to Terence Crawford and expressed full confidence that he could defeat him. At a live press conference, Canelo highlighted that his greater skill and long experience gave him a major advantage, along with the weight difference. He pointed out that Crawford, coming from 3 divisions lower, did not pose a serious danger in the ring. Confident in his height, power, and background, Canelo viewed the fight as the perfect stage to prove his ability.
Bud Crawford just won his debut at 154. Said if the money's right, we'll fight. Everybody wants that fight. What do you feel about that matchup? People saying the weight, all this stuff. How do you feel about that?
You know, everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2, 3 weights class less than me. But if the money is right, why not? Right? Why not? But look, I'm focused 100% on Berlanga. I know I have a challenge in front. I never overlook any fighter. So I'm focused 100% in this, and then we'll see.
Canelo stands as the undisputed champion of the super middleweight division. Throughout his career, he has displayed remarkable power, precision, and defense. His ability to control the pace and dictate the flow of fights makes him the most dominant figure in his class. Crawford, meanwhile, has risen to the top across several weight divisions with his adaptability, quickness, and sharp reactions. His switch between orthodox and southpaw combined with his high ring IQ allows him to outsmart rivals and create sudden openings. A clash between Canelo's strength and experience against Crawford's speed and skill promises to be thrilling and could mark a historic moment in boxing.
When Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about light heavyweight, he moved up and he beat Crawford. Then he moved up again and he lost to Bill. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he moves up to 154. He won 115, 113, but it was against an 11-0 Madrimov who didn't really have much of a resume, right? But there's a difference, to be real. I mean, Bivol is a Hall of Fame. Okay, this guy, you know, all-time light heavyweight. This is a bit different. Canelo did knock out Kovalev when he did move up. Okay, and Kovalev is a bigger challenge at light heavyweight than Madrimov at 154 for Terence Crawford. Let's just keep it up.
Trainer Joel Diaz has often stressed how important it is for fighters to face opponents of different sizes, especially when smaller boxers take on naturally bigger ones. He explains that a single punch can completely shift the outcome of a fight, particularly when one fighter is more accustomed to competing in a heavier division. Diaz's view is especially relevant with the upcoming clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford has proven his skill and adaptability over the years, Diaz believes moving up in weight to face someone like Alvarez brings serious challenges. As a natural super middleweight, Alvarez holds not only size and power advantages, but also valuable experience against larger rivals. Crawford is praised for his speed and technical style, but Diaz points out that these strengths may not fully balance out the physical gap. In this matchup, the ability to withstand and absorb heavy punches is critical, and Alvarez's experience in this area could give him the edge.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov is a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
Canelo Alvarez's climb to the top is defined by his willingness to challenge tough opponents across multiple weight divisions. His victories over bigger rivals have solidified his image as both a determined and tactical fighter. Beyond his performances in the ring, Canelo holds deep significance for Mexican fans, much like Floyd Mayweather Jr. does for African-American communities. In Guadalajara, Jalisco, his journey from humble beginnings connects strongly with supporters. His story of hard work and success represents the determination and pride that many Mexicans aspire to.
Canelo is beating these guys with all 5 layers of defense. Number 1, feet. Number 2, elbows, hands, shoulders, and the mind. This is exactly how both of those guys got to the highest level of boxing supremacy. Canelo Alvarez means to the Mexican fans what Floyd Money Mayweather meant for black people. 50 wins in boxing, no losses, no draws. And follow for more.
Sean Porter, a former welterweight champion who has shared the ring with Terence Crawford, has expressed concern about Crawford's ability to withstand Canelo Alvarez's power. Porter recognizes Crawford's toughness, but questions whether he can handle the strength of a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo. He emphasizes that taking punches from a larger opponent is a different challenge, and the weight gap could heavily influence the fight. According to Porter, Crawford's game plan should prioritize movement and avoiding direct exchanges to neutralize Canelo's power. He also notes that while Crawford has shown durability against hard-hitting welterweights, stepping up to super middleweight introduces new challenges. Porter's remarks highlight the difficulty of the matchup and the importance of preparation and adaptability when facing a dangerous opponent like Canelo Alvarez.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So
promoter Eddie Hearn has labeled the upcoming showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford as a freak fight, stressing the major weight difference between the two. Crawford, who has competed at welterweight and light middleweight, will step up to super middleweight to face Canelo, the division's natural champion. Hearn points out that on fight night Canelo could weigh around 185 to 190 pounds, while Crawford may come in closer to 168 to 170, giving the Mexican star a clear edge in size and power. Although Crawford's achievements are remarkable, becoming the first male fighter to be undisputed in 2 divisions, Hearn doubts his ability to overcome such a physical disadvantage. He adds that even if Crawford performs impressively, the size gap could prove too much, and a win for Alvarez might not be viewed as equally significant because of a natural mismatch.
Is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement. If you're Terence Crawford in that fight, the last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him. Yeah.
Den Raphael, an experienced boxing analyst, has provided a detailed breakdown of the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, set for September 12, 2025, in Las Vegas. Raphael highlights the significance of the bout, calling it a landmark event in boxing history as 2 elite fighters face off. Crawford's decision to challenge Alvarez at super middleweight is a bold move, reflecting his ambition and confidence. Rafael points out that while Crawford's technical skill, adaptability, and ring intelligence are widely recognized, moving up in weight introduces new challenges, as his previous experience did not fully prepare him for the strength and power at 168 pounds. Alvarez, in contrast, is celebrated for his strength, experience, and tactical acumen, which have allowed him to dominate the super middleweight division. Rafael emphasizes that Alvarez's ability to control fights and his resilience make him a formidable opponent for anyone stepping into his class. This matchup is more than a display of skill, it is a clash of legacies. A win for Crawford would cement his place among boxing's all-time greats, while a victory for Alvarez could make him a 5-division world champion, reinforcing his dominance and legacy. Rafael concludes that this fight transcends belts and titles. It is a battle between champions at the highest level. The anticipation surrounding the event reflects both fighters' reputations and the high stakes, making it a historic moment that the boxing world is eagerly awaiting.
What's your message to fighters who will fight you in the future? Obviously not Crawford, but with that kind of mindset, they just want to last the distance.
That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show. You know what I mean?
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this win and then we think. Yeah. Do it.
What did you think of Ryan Garcia's performance yesterday?
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. stresses that Canelo Alvarez's strategy will be key in his matchup against Terence Crawford. Jones explains that if Alvarez underestimates Crawford or strays from a disciplined game plan, he could be at risk of defeat. He highlights the importance of Alvarez leveraging his size and power while respecting Crawford's skill set. According to Jones, Crawford's adaptability and high ring IQ make him a dangerous opponent who can exploit even small errors. Therefore, Alvarez must enter the fight with careful planning and precise execution to secure victory.
It's Jonathan Agioff here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by, does he need any introduction, Hall of Fame legend Roy Jones Jr. here in the UK. There's a few questions about the US guys. Obviously, Tank and Lamont Roach, we saw the first fight, Lamont Roach shot the world. What do you think happens in a rematch if they fight?
I think he shocks the world again, but the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation, and I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
And obviously we know if Canelo wins against William Skull, he will fight Terence Crawford in September. Who would you favour in that fight?
You know, it's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man that he can box and I'll box Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Edgar Berlanga has expressed concern about the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, describing it as a mismatch due to the significant weight difference. While acknowledging Crawford's superior skills and intelligence, Berlanga believes Alvarez's size advantage as a natural super middleweight could play a decisive role. He points out that Crawford's mental toughness and abilities surpass those of Alvarez's previous opponent, Jermall Charlo, but questions whether these strengths can fully overcome the physical gap. Berlanga suggests that if Crawford were naturally 168 pounds and Alvarez closer to 147, the fight dynamics would be very different. He does not underestimate Crawford's talent, saying, "I don't doubt Crawford. He is one of the best in the world. He could definitely succeed if he were bigger. His will is strong." Crawford himself sees the fight's appeal, noting the financial rewards and the historic significance of a two-time undisputed champion facing the undisputed super middleweight champion. Still, Berlanga cautions that the size difference remains a major factor that could influence the competitiveness of the bout.
Good friend, my brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring. I know you haven't been in the ring with Terrence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terrence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him out, you know what I'm saying?
Terrence Crawford is widely recognized as a legend and an exceptional fighter. The main advantage in the upcoming fight, according to observers, is Canelo Alvarez's size. Beyond that, Crawford's skill, intelligence, and adaptability make him capable of matching, or even surpassing, many opponents. Despite this, Ryan Garcia has confidently predicted that Alvarez will defeat Crawford in their super fight, pointing to Alvarez's size and mastery of his boxing style as key advantages. Garcia emphasizes that weight classes exist for a reason and notes that Crawford's performance against Israil Madrimov at 150 pounds did not show the strength needed to compete at 168 against a seasoned champion like Alvarez. He believes Crawford lacks the power to overcome Canelo, who consistently controls fights and understands the ring at a high level. Garcia's view reflects a common sentiment in the boxing world. While Crawford's talent and determination are undeniable, the differences in size and experience could ultimately determine the outcome. Garcia believes that Alvarez's size, power, and ring intelligence would almost certainly secure him a win in a matchup with Crawford. Terrence Crawford's desire to face Canelo has drawn criticism from fans and analysts who question his motives. Critics argue that Crawford's interest is driven more by the potential payday and publicity than by a genuine competitive challenge. They suggest that moving up in weight to face Alvarez was a strategic decision aimed at boosting both his earnings and his legacy. Some experts point out that Crawford's previous pay-per-view performances lacked major drawing power, and a fight with Alvarez could provide the exposure and revenue he seeks. Despite these concerns, Crawford maintains that his motivation comes from wanting to test himself against one of the sport's best.
Just a few weeks ago, you heard what Terrence Bud Crawford had to say on why he wants to take on Saul Canelo Alvarez.
I just want the opportunity, to fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. He's the most accomplished fighter, and I would just like to, fight another great.
Which is a very noble reason. I mean, it's a reason that I can get behind. If you notice, his primary reason isn't money. He did say it'd be the biggest fight, which, you do want a big fight, but I don't think he meant monetarily, which the money comes, okay? But what he's saying is he want to test himself versus the best. And I think he's telling the truth here, right? Of course you want big money and stuff like that, but I think his swan song is just him test himself up against the very best. Those are the reasons, the war room.
Terrence Crawford has made it clear that his motivation to face Canelo Alvarez stems from both competitive drive and financial opportunity. He has said that when the right business moment arrives, the fight will happen. Crawford views this matchup as a way to enhance his reputation and secure a substantial payday, recognizing the commercial value of taking on a high-profile opponent like Alvarez. While some critics question his intentions, Crawford believes that challenging himself against the best in the sport is a natural step in his career. He sees the fight as a blend of athletic ambition and business strategy, aligning with his goals both inside and outside the ring.
Canelo fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talks. With the right business come across the table, it happens. I just be talking, man. Canelo a big dude, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I believe in my abilities. He's a heavy dude, but he's not a big guy. Like, he's 5'8", I'm 5'8", you know what I mean? My arm's longer than his, so that fight would be good.
That's all for today's show. Stay tuned for the next one.